Darren Razzle Thornburgh was always unlikely to retire at 65 and spend time playing golf. The undisputed king of Melbourne's nightclub scene for more than 2 decades lived at breakneck speed and loved to party harder and longer than his A-list clientele. Hundreds of entertainment heavyweights, footballers and starlets enjoyed Thornburgh's hospitality in his private office on the second floor of his Prara nightclub boutique. The office included a full bar, a stripper's pole, a pair of sunglasses worn by Elvis Presley and a framed cigar that was partly smoked by Al Pacino's cocaine-addled character Tony Montana in the 1983 film Scarface. Since the 1980s, when he began as a doorman at the now-defunct Chevron nightclub on St Kilda Road, Thornburgh has had a stake in many of Melbourne's biggest clubs, including Chasers and Warehouse in South Yarra, Heat nightclub in the Crown Complex and the Imperial Hotel on Chapel Street. Charismatic and quick-witted, the former carpenter from Dadiog knew how to entertain a VIP crowd. But those familiar with Thornburgh's demos were not surprised when his body was discovered on the veranda of a rural property in Victoria's North on Monday afternoon. As recently as last week, the 54-year-old is understood to have spurned advice to seek professional help for his chronic addiction issues. Thornburgh's nightclub empire collapsed in October, when he was evicted from the Greville Street premises of Boutique following months of conflict with the landlord. The club had been in trouble for years, the latest victim in a fickle industry that has suffered from a generational shift towards online romance and the proliferation of smaller, late-night venues. Repeated attempts to sell the once profitable club had failed. Friends and associates said Thornburgh had become increasingly erratic as his hedonistic lifestyle exacted a heavy toll on his health. For several years, he had lived in a serviced apartment in Crown Casino, where he is said to have survived on room service, drugs and little sleep. He had become increasingly paranoid and was comforted by Crown's security cameras and phalanx of private guards. His fears, however, were not without justification. At its peak, Boutique nightclub generated rivers of cash, up to $100,000 on a good weekend, which made Thornburgh a target for stud men. In 2010, members of the Comarcherous outlaw motorcycle gang attempted to extort money from him. He employed a champion kickboxer as his personal bodyguard, but also used a prominent security industry figure to negotiate directly with the bikies. In October last year, the Greville Street Club came under fire when a young man calmly alighted from a black BMW sedan, removed a shotgun from the boot, and blasted the building at least 3 times. Mr. Thornburgh, who was sandbagging his Barmer property at the time after heavy flooding, denied that a shooting had ever occurred. If gunfire went off in Greville Street, someone would have reported it, he said. No one had reported any gunshots. Mr. Thornburgh said he believed the damage was caused by kids using a rock, hammer, who knows, before accusing the age of running a vendetta against him.